Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's The 99 Beautiful Names of God, Al-Maqsad Al-Asna fi Sharhi Asma'illah Al-Husna, translated by David Burrell and Nazih Dahir. We are on page 64, the eighth name, Al-Muhaymin, the guardian. The guardian means, with regard to God, great and glorious, the one who tends to his creatures with regard to their action, their sustenance, at the time of their death. But the word tends, though it's true that he tends, subhanahu wa ta'ala, to people's actions, sustenance, and the time of their death, tends to does not give the full meaning of Muhaymin. Muhaymin has the upper hand. Muhaymin is in control. Muhaymin is the absolute authority. In fact, it's very hard. The Quran itself is Muhaymin, in relation to the previous revelations. Especially that they suffered from the vagaries of transmission, and the Quran is the only original book of revelation that was preserved as is. So if we differ with the people of the book about anything, the Quran is Muhaymin. Okay, has the upper hand. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tends to them by His cognizance, His possession, and His protection. Everyone who has complete command of a situation, so everyone who has complete command of a situation, who takes possession of it and protects it, will be its guardian, in inverted commas here in the translation. Taking command comes down to knowledge, possession, to the perfection of power, Kamal al-Qudra. Taking command comes down to knowledge, possession, to the perfection of power, and protection to action. Omnipotent, Kamal al-Qudra. The one who unites these meanings is named guardian, but only God, great and glorious, joins them absolutely and perfectly. So it was said, it is one of the names of God, the Most High, recorded in ancient writings. Recorded in ancient writings, I think if we stick to the Arabic, في الكتب القديمة, probably it's a reference to the previous revelations. Then B, counsel every servant who watches over his heart until he supervises its depths. and its secrets, and also takes possession of reforming his inner states and attributes, and undertakes to protect it continuously according to the requirements of his reform, will then be guardian in relation to his heart. Again, we talk about even the servant here. فهو مهيمن. Until he supervises uh, until he supervises its depths and secrets. Well, Ishraf is supervision, that's one meaning. But here, Ashrafa ala, really reaching a point of, if you talk about in terms of geography, in terms of space, uh, you talk about reaching, for example, the point where you could see a city from, let's say, top of a mountain, on the verge of being annihilated. Ashraf al halak. Okay, but here Ashraf is really ala ghawarihi. It's basically reaching the point where one deciphers it's about knowledge here in this context, and knowledge that leads to action, and the action is basically being in to straighten taqweem, to straighten the action, the state of affairs. So, and also takes possession of reforming his inner states and attributes based on this knowledge of the innermost aspects of his heart, and undertakes to protect it continuously according to the requirements of his reform, will then be guardian, muhayman, in relation to his heart. And if he extends his supervision and possession to undertaking to keep some servants of God, keep in the sense of really protect, حفظ, قام بحفظ عباد الله. So he already took care of his own heart, and now he's tending to other servants of God, the great and glorious, on the right way. After taking cognizance of their inner states and secrets by way of clairvoyance, tafarrus, firasa, or inference from their behavior. Then his share in this meaning will be even more abundant, and his portion greater. More complete. There's a hadith, اتقوا فراسة المؤمن. The hadith is not sound, but it is a known statement that beware of the believer's clairvoyance, for he looks with the light from God. So, despite the very weak chain of narrators, but there has been cases of firasa, insight also. Al-Aziz, number 9, the eminent, is one who is so significant that few exist like him. Yet he is also one of whom there is intense need, as well as one to whom access proves difficult. Unless these three meanings are combined, the term eminent will not be used. So, being few exist like him, you talk about rarity. الذي يقل وجود مثله. This is not really about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so remember that as a title, not of course the meaning would still the etymology is still the same, but in this story the story of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, Prophet Joseph, son of Jacob, son of Isaac, son of Abraham, when he ended up in Egypt, the wife of Al-Aziz tried to seduce him, to tempt him, but the Al-Aziz is mentioned there. So it's the same word, okay? Imra'atul Aziz, تراود فتاها عن نفسه. So because if we speak about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should not say, the Imam Ghazali would absolutely not say that يقل وجود مثله is one who is so significant that few exist like him. If it were about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's speaking here about the etymology, he's speaking about the general meaning of Al-Aziz. Because with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's absolutely no one is like him. He's unlike any of his, of course, he does not, nothing's like unto him. That's a cornerstone. There are many things in the world whose existence is rare, but if they are of little importance or not much use, they are not called eminent. There are also many things whose significance is great, whose benefit is abundant, and whose equal does not exist. Yet if access to them be not difficult, they are not called eminent. The sun, for example, as well as the earth, have no equal. The benefit from each of them is abundant, and the need for both is intense, but neither of them is described as eminent, because access to observing them is not difficult, so it is inescapable that all three meanings go together. One can speak volumes. This particular sun and this particular earth, as part of our solar system, there is something unique about it. It's not as a genius. There is no rarity at all. If we talk about a star, our sun is, then our own Milky Way has 400 billion stars. And imagine if we talk about 2 trillion galaxies, the number is absolutely so large that just simply imagining what's going on in the universe is almost impossible. Suffice it to say that the Quran refers to the creation of the universe as being greater than creating the human being. It's a great universe, and the part that we know. This is all that the astrophysicists speak about. It's the part that we know. There might be a part that we don't. Okay. Moreover, in each of the three meanings, there is perfection and imperfection. Perfection in rareness comes down to one only, for nothing is rarer than the one, and if it is one in the sense that any existence like it is impossible, only God, the Most High, fulfills this sense. For even for even if the sun be one in actuality, it is not unique in possibility, for it is possible that one like it exists. Perfection in preciousness and intensity of need means that all things needed in everything for their very existence, their attributes, and their survival, and only God, great and glorious, fulfills that to perfection. Perfection in difficulty of access lies in the impossibility of reaching Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the sense of comprehending His essence, and only God, great and glorious, fulfills that to perfection, as we have already explained, that only God knows God. So He is truly and absolutely immanent, and nothing else is equal to Him in this. Then B. Counsel. One is eminent among people when God's people have need of Him and matters most important to them, like the next life and eternal happiness. That is exceedingly rare and difficult to attain, except by those who hold the rank of prophet. May God's blessings be on all of them. وهذه رتبة الأنبياء. Let's keep it plural. The rank of the prophets. May God's blessings be on all of them. Their eminence is shared with those who, in their time, are distinguished by being close to their level, like the caliphs. And the prophets hires among the scholars. The eminence of each one of them is in proportion to their elevation in rank above easy access and participation, and is measured as well by their concern for guiding creatures. Creatures, al-khalq, basically, essentially talk about human beings. إرشاد الخلق. Al-Jabbar, number 10. The compeller is one who implements his will by way of compulsion in every single thing, yet no one's will prevails. Yet no one's will prevails over him. He is the one from whose grasp nothing escapes, yet the hands of men do not reach to the sanctuary of his presence. The absolute compeller is God, may he be praised and exalted, for he compels each thing, and nothing compels him, and he has no competitor on either score. 10b. Counsel. The compeller among men is one who is too high to be a follower, and has attained the level of one followed, and is distinguished by the elevation of his rank in such a way that his life and his manner compels creatures to emulate him. Talk about the being a leader, and is distinguished by the elevation of his rank, such a way that his life and his manner compels creatures to emulate him and to follow him in his character and his conduct. For he benefits creatures, but is not himself benefited. He influences, but is not influenced. He is followed, but does not follow. No one beholds him without ceasing to attend to himself, and becomes so totally absorbed in him so that he no longer attends to himself, nor does anyone aspire to sway him or to lead him. The master of men, may God's blessings and peace be upon him, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, enjoyed this attribute. Of course, anyone who knows the context, every sentence alludes to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and here we have this hadith. He enjoys this attribute, inasmuch as he said, "Were Moses the son of Imran alive, he could not but follow me, for I am the master of Adam's offspring, and that is no boast." The context of this hadith, and it seems that there is more than one version, but the context is that Umar ibn Khattab, it seems that he got a page or so from the previous scriptures, meaning of the people of the book, from the Torah. And the Prophet ﷺ became upset with him, and he told him that had Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam been alive, he would have had to follow Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this means that first of all, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the seal of the prophets. Islam is the last phase, the Quran, of revelation. And from this perspective, it's a replacement theology. So if we differ, absolutely it's a replacement theology. We advocate coexistence, we advocate multi-religious society. Islam is capable because of maintaining this paradigm of convivencia, because it recognizes the prophets and previous revelations. Essentially, we have 25 shared names. We are the only ones who believe in all the prophets. And we talk about theologically and Islamic jurisprudence. The position is that we respect their right to keep their and maintain their places of worship and have free access. And just think about the original pact of Umar here in this in Jerusalem, in the Holy Land. But at the same time, once it comes to theology, because we do differ, think about the Trinity. There are so many things that one can think about, and there could be no multiple truths in this case. That monotheism, and at the same time you talk about the Trinity, it is a replacement theology, just going back to the origin, the original message of Tawheed, of the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Were Moses, son of Imran, alive, he could not but follow me. Because in Islam, it does include the belief in Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. But at the same time, people are expected to become Muslims, as I said, multicultural, multi-religious. And by that we mean in an original sense. Say, for example, that in Islam, we will not be able to accommodate whether it's the liberal synagogue or a liberal church that advocates same-sex marriage. We cannot say this is a religious right or freedom of of religion. This is not a religion. That's not the what is intended here. So the gap is getting wider and wider, and I can see and read and hear really about people taking notice that Islam is the last frontier in the sense of and Muslims are still sticking to their faith, to their ethics, to their values. I hope that it will continue like this, inshallah. Suffice it for today, and inshallah we'll continue in the next session. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.